gentlemen, of course, this opportunity does come once in a lifetime. Primarily following Lee Clow is a very difficult act, even though I have a fairly nice brand to talk about here in Coca-Cola. I want to give you a few things here quickly today on entrepreneurship and one particular project that we're very excited on relative to what we call, and I referenced it the other day, Eco Center. And also talk about how we're thinking about engagement, because it's becoming much more experiential for us. So anyway, this is not... Roman, this is a millennial saying to you, yes, PTTOW conference is #1. That's what they're saying, that PTTOW is #1. It's actually a millennial probably saying, what are you guys talking about marketing to me? You marketing to me? You're crazy. You're not, and the reality is we're not going to be marketing to these people. They reject that. It's a whole different world. Millennials, and we've heard a lot about it in the last few days, how we want to engage with them and everything. We have to have conversations. But I think fundamentally, unless we're engaging with them through very compelling, honest, authentic storytelling and conversations, then they're going to reject this notion. And probably the sooner we move out of that mode as a business and as an industry, probably a hell of a lot better. But I think it's really tough to change, even though there's dramatic change flowing around us. And as Alex said, and I want to reinforce, these millennials are using, technology did not cause the revolution. He's absolutely right. The revolutions in the Middle East were caused by decades of suppression and lack of economic opportunity and education, et cetera. But technology was the enabler to kind of make it and bring it all and kind of amplify it and make it happen a lot faster. The other thing that we're seeing that technology is also allows people to get that megaphone and express kind of a fierce independent streak and individuality. That's something that's a megaphone around the world, and it's clearly, as you all know, something that is very, very much a different world than certainly when I grew up in marketing starting 25 years ago or longer. But it's really kind of creating an unbelievable echoing of powerful ideas that are resonating. I think for us as marketers, how do we tap into that and then use that and amplify and get that multiplier effect? That's one of our big challenges. Because these millennials are different. They're very different than Gen X. They're on a quest for authenticity, without question about that. They want to make the world in their own image. They really don't want to take the corporate path to success. In fact, they certainly wouldn't dress like I am. Next time, if I ever invited back, I'm going to come and I'm going to be here in my sandals like Lee, and I'm going to have my giant dog, white dog, Chester, right here on the stage with me, and kind of take a different approach. These people, I think 1 out of every 3 millennials they're starting their own businesses. They don't want to be caught in the kind of corporate towers with the suits and everything like that. They value different things. They're very focused, obviously. 80% of them sleep with their cell phone, amazingly. And I think the one stat that caught me was about 1 out of every 4 said that they'd rather give up sex than give up their cell phone. Now that number was 50% in Japan. But can you guess what that number was in Brazil? Only 5%. Not unexpected. Not unexpected. But they're different, and we have to talk to them and engage with them differently. And so what really this comes down to is, to stay relevant in today's culture as a brand, and particularly as a brand that, unlike what Lee just showed, a brand that can come up every couple months and show you wonderful new stuff. Well, Coke isn't like that. Yes, we do have product innovations and things like that, but fundamentally, we have to innovate around the product, particularly our core Coca-Cola product. But we have to align ourselves with these people's values. That's the reality. We have to align ourselves with these new values. There's a famous jurist in America back in the early 1900s called Benjamin Cardozo. He was on the Supreme Court, and he said, the law needs to reflect the mores of the time. And quite honestly, marketing needs to reflect the mores of the time, and it needs to change and evolve. And if we're not doing that, we can't rely solely on the selling of product. We have to also and just about creating profit. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's around this, what I call the new EPS, economic value, partner value, and shared value. I really believe that. Fundamentally, if we're not speaking in that language to people, they will tune out. Now, to stay relevant, I use this example of the New Mexico city of Taos. Taos, New Mexico, because it's very easy for my simple mind to understand, the Taos approach for millennials, it says transparency is the T, Authenticity is the A, organic is the O, and sustainable is the S. This is what kind of these millennials are looking for. And just like a city like Taos, which has been around this town for 1,000 years, keeps reinventing itself all the time, kind of a hub or a center and you see this is the Coke, a home that I think these are called Earth ships that are there in Taos, and they're very much focused on, made of all kind of materials, and this one's made with Coke cans, Coke bottles, it's made with tires and everything. But it's constantly reinventing itself, and we know now this town is kind of a center of new age thinking, of innovation and things like that. It's been continuing to reinvent itself for so long. And if we don't do that as a business, we're going to be stuck and we'll be less relevant. And that's why, for us, you have to continuously, for us, reinvent and think about how we go to market, think about our product set. So it's not just about product innovation, it's about innovation around the packaging, around the delivery system, the equipment, and around consumer engagement. One piece of equipment, just as a sidebar, what we call our freestyle machine. Our freestyle machine kind of, we think, speaks directly to what millennials want. They really want a lot of co-creation. Give me the opportunity, and despite what the person said yesterday about choice can be overwhelming for people, yes, but we find that at least in this environment, they're very much reaching for, and we certainly see our volume increase, that choice doesn't seem to overwhelm them. It tends to excite them because they've never seen like this. So for us, from our perspective, freestyle is a game changer. It also incorporates design, great principles of design. We actually used Pininfarina out of Italy to help us on the design of this product. But what it does is really takes manufacturing out of your manufacturing plant and brings it into a restaurant for consumers to do it themselves. And that's what consumers want. They're really focused on co-creation. And obviously, in versions 2.0 and 3.0, the screen there will be very, very focused on social, on total engagement, on mobile, etc. And we're just at the beginning of what this machine will do and how it engages with millennials. And when you see how millennials interact with the machine, and when you see how a little older group interacts with the machine, for this is old hat and easy going for the millennial. But this is the kind of thing that gets them excited. And so it not only does it dispense 125 products, but it gives kind of a unique experience. And that gets to where we're talking more and more about what kind of experience can we give to our consumers when we're in a mass consumer products business. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is so engagement, different, evolving. One of the things that we find now and we think is a great opportunity is engagement for the millennial generation all around the world is this notion of economic empowerment and how we can help facilitate economic empowerment. We have, unemployment, we know it can be 50% for millennials in some markets, even in Europe. In Spain, look at the unemployment rates in Spain. They're unbelievably high, 40 for young people, 40, 50%. But the reality is, how can we help as a business system? How can we help basically deliver economic opportunity and also help build our business? Because that's ultimately what we're into. We have a thing we called micro-distribution centers. We have a large number of them in Africa and in Asia. And basically, the micro-distribution center is an opportunity for an entrepreneur to get coaching, teaching from us, understand basics of finance, and then use those opportunities then to help develop. And because we fundamentally believe that strong communities lead to strong business. If we don't have a strong and vibrant community, we will not have a vibrant business. They use that, and then once they aggregate there, then they use different methods in order to get to the marketplace, very unique methods in some countries, by boat, by elephant, by burro, so to speak. All of which kind of supports the distribution center and the ability to get our product into parts of the world. And not only our product, but also us to deliver in Africa condoms, also for us to deliver medicine. And so one of the ironies of my life, of course, is we have so many NGOs, or some NGOs that are there and criticizing Coke for Coke, you're making the world fat. And on the other hand, the same NGOs are coming on and saying, but Coke, you need to help the world on this from a malnutrition point of view or delivery of medicine and things like that. So, you're kind of living in this dual world. But regardless of the world that we're living in, we've thought, how might we reinvent or rethink these kind of distribution centers? Because this is where we needed to think of more of a 21st century concept. And this is what I want to talk about, Eco Center. Now, Eco Center, this is kind of the evolution of the micro distribution center. It's really very closely tied to an initiative we call 5x20. 5x20 is our initiative to add 5 million female entrepreneurs by the year 2020. And we think that the Eco Center will be just that. We believe it has tremendous opportunity to deliver economic empowerment and also to create much more stable environments in small communities in many very difficult parts of the world. Now, we think that this is fundamentally transformative. We're starting to deploy this in selected markets around the world. The important thing, though, about this is, and this connects back to freestyle. We got the technology for freestyle from the genius inventor Dean Kamen. Dean came to us, and as you know, Dean Kamen, who did the Segway, Dean also has got hundreds of medical patents. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you license these medical patents for freestyle, but in exchange, I have a project because I think 60% of the world's disease and death is related to and a function of bad water. And I have a machine I've created. I call it the Dean's Dream Water Machine, but we now call it Slingshot, that you can take the worst water in the world and take a hose and put it in that worst water in the world, take the other hose and put it in a glass, it'll cycle through the machine, completely distill it and purify it, and then you can drink that water. And he says, but I need somebody who's going to help me scale that. And he said, you guys are the ones. And so we said, okay, that's great. And the machine was like this big, but it only required the power of a hairdryer, not bad. And it's just a different thought for us, very different. So then when we started to thinking and connecting these dots, we said, well, gee, maybe this becomes kind of the anchor in this new Eco Center kind of facility. And what it does is it becomes, this machine will now produce about 1,000 liters of clean water a day. So our goal is by 2015 at deployment level, I wouldn't say full scale, but we'll get a couple thousand machines out within the next couple years, testing and learning from them constantly, that we'll be up to about 500 million of liters of clean water a year that we can provide. And the whole point, though, is it supports a holistic view of what the community can be. Because it's not just going to be the water side. There's also, as you can see, a little flat screen. There'll be a cell phone charging station. And then hopefully they'll also sell some of our product along the line. So I wanted to show you. So the fundamental point of this was, we want to go from being the best in the world at what we do on distribution and marketing to being the best for the world in what we do. And we think that this represents a unique opportunity for us at scale to really get at a number of really critical issues. So let's show you a quick film on this. Run that, please. So that's the start. I would ask, my challenge to everyone here at PTTOW is if you can think of other things that you could see be very viable kind of adjacencies onto this, then please come forward and talk to us, because ultimately this is about creating more robust communities that can be independent and thriving. And if you can address the water issue, it's solar powered there. We think that this is the start of a major opportunity for us to improve the lives of millions of people around the world. So it's a long journey. It won't be easy. We've got a lot of good partners on this, but we're always looking for more and some other great thinking on this. So the other thing I wanted to mention is, and that's obviously experiential, but we're going more and more into experiential. When we think about how we're moving, we and particularly brand Coke stands for happiness, open happiness, but we want to move more towards how do we provoke happiness? How do we get people to be happy through, fundamentally our assets that we have. We haven't really thought about how we deploy our assets in a unique way, and we've been starting to do a lot of work around that. And so making sure that our assets, we are great storytellers, obviously, but also how people can get more of an immediate response and engage with a lot of our equipment. So provoking happiness is important, and let me show you this video around. Here are what we consider conversation multipliers, things that we've done over the last year or so to really dial up engagement with people. So if we could run that film, please. Singapore. So, you saw 4 examples there of repurposing when I think of media, I call it peso. Paid, earned, shared, and owned. And I want to spend a lot less money on the P and a lot more money on the O. And these are owned assets that we're repurposing in order to provoke happiness for brand Coca-Cola. One other thing that I was really proud of last year for the Olympics, we had a major program all around the world. Over 100 countries participated in a program we did. But one of the things I was most proud of was we challenged the people in the UK, how do you get some, not put up a traditional kind of very corporate little exhibit or things like that. How do you really break out of the box and think differently? And also tie it into where we were going. Our whole platform and program for London was around move to the beat. And so they created something in London called the Beatbox. When we thought that the Beatbox lent itself to great design, it was engagement, it tied directly, and we probably got, over the course of the Olympics and the Paralympics, over 400,000 people came through this. Let me show you this quick video on the Beatbox in London, please.
We were inspired by the way young people make spaces their own through music.
Our building is a musical instrument programmed with sounds Mark Ronson has been collecting from athletes around the world. As people undertake that spiral journey, they come across 230 individual inflated air cushions with sensors which detect how far you are away from them, a special type of speaker which makes each of these air cushions into a speaker itself.
How they integrated the sound into the structure is truly phenomenal.
I have to take a moment to take it in. Just the complexity of the outside panels, kind of astounding.
Awesome. Really excited!
Absolutely incredible. Phenomenal.
Amazing. Fantastic. Really good.
Very interesting design. That 157 number was just for the Olympics. Then, of course, 2 weeks later, they had the most highly attended Paralympic Games in history in London. So we felt great about that. It really it played exactly to where our Move to the Beat campaign went, but also engaged people in a unique way. When they touched those kind of long panels, it emitted the sounds of sport. So we had put all the sounds of the different sports in that, and they could create their own song. And then there was they had a great photo opportunity on the roof, and then when they went in the actual interior, there was lots of excitement and really moments of happiness, as you could see. So different things that provoke, that engage, that are very, very seductive for millennials, with something that we're very excited and will continue to be doing as we move forward. Finally, I just want to mention, our brand, we're all about optimism. Our kind of unique, our brand of happiness is really about optimism, to be taking an optimistic spirit and view of the world. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, but we think that there's also a lot of great good. And, we're not going to be solving world peace. We're smart enough around that. But we can think if we can help in a little way, if we can get people in a small way to see the positive side and the good things that are occurring in the world. A few years ago, we started something called Reasons to Believe in a Better World, as kind of a sub-campaign, part of the Open Happiness campaign. It was a movement that kind of started in Latin America, moved around the world. And I want to show you one that kind of gave me such a great uplift, because frequently when people talk about the continent of Africa, of almost 1 billion people, it's not a good picture. It's disease, corruption, war, famine, etc. But there's a lot of great things going on there, and we wanted to highlight that. And that's how this final video of kind of expressing an optimistic point of view really reflects that. So play that last one, please.
I will pray for all the people of this land, and I will hold them close to me, yeah. Together one day there'll be sweet harmony, so let's be patient peacefully. Hey, yeah, yeah. All I need is a here, right here in Africa.
Coca-Cola is the largest employer on the African continent, and I think where this is all going now is, it's very easy to talk about the functional benefits. It's very easy to talk about the emotions with your brand, but I think more and more what you're going to see from us is true cultural leadership. Cultural leadership, we think, is a very rich territory. A lot of what you saw today, tremendous cultural leadership, I think, by AT&T and what was shown there. But I think fundamentally, I'm an optimist. We feel very optimistic. And if you give millennials that kind of economic opportunity, if you give them an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, if you give them a cultural voice, I think that they will definitely plan to take over the world. So thank you very much. I appreciate your attention.
The music, the moment you own